English with Deck.
It feels great to find something new, something exciting, right? You know, whether it's a new app, a new routine, maybe it's a new cooking style, maybe it's, I don't know, a new fashion. Since we start school, since we start, becoming a bit more independent and generating our own ideas, well, I think we are all very, very likely to get into a fad, a craze, something new, something exciting, but then actually end up, well, quitting, giving up, slowing it down, however you want to look at it, quite quickly. And that is quite a natural thing to do, in my opinion. Hey guys, it's Deck here with another episode of English with Deck. Let's go. Okay, so as you probably caught on to there, I am talking about, something I am really guilty of, and that is starting things and then stopping them. Well, not necessarily quickly after beginning them, but stopping them at some point within a relatively short time frame after starting it up. And I'm not talking about big dramatic failures here. I'm just talking about little things. Like I just mentioned, whether it's a new routine, maybe new exercise routine, a new app. Maybe you find an app which helps you study or tracks your sleep or something like that. Maybe a new hobby. It could be, I don't know, collecting some kind of card, or maybe collecting coins. Or it could be just doing something on the weekends. A new content idea, a new way of organizing your life. And then about a week or 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months, 6 months later, it quietly, or in some cases quickly, disappears out of your life. No big announcement to the world, no emotional goodbye, it just stops. And I am sure many, many, many of you guys are guilty of this. I've definitely done that plenty of times. I know I start a lot of projects in my life with good intentions, but then real life gets in the way. Maybe it's work, maybe family stuff, or my personal interest in the new activity actually isn't as strong as I thought it was. And that's normal. That's really normal. But honestly, a lot of these things we pick up, a lot of these things we start and sort of get rid of, they are not wastes of time. Some of them are. Some of them definitely are. But not all of them. Some of them can and do sort of help us grow, mature, gain knowledge, whatever it is, they are helpful for something. And, when I think about things I've done in the past, I've gotten really into certain workout routines, which then didn't quite work out with me. Maybe diets as well, or collecting one thing or another. And there is quite a few. If I think back to my high school days, maybe even before then, maybe toys. This starts off when we are young, and it continues, I would say, in most of our, if not all of our lives. We get into something, and then actually we find it's not quite us. And if I think personally about this, well, let's take now, for example, teaching English. That's an obvious one. I've been doing it for bloody years now. I've gone through different schedules, different students, different time zones, early mornings, late nights, different environments, you name it, and then I've probably had a little dabble at it, but it's always been something I've stuck with for years now. And I've gotten past qualifications. I'm planning on getting further qualifications in this. You know, it's not always exciting, and some days I feel tired. You know, I feel, oh, I'm knackered. But honestly, those days are few and far between. And most days I feel excited about it. Most days I feel ready to go, you know. And it's part of my life now. It's part of my identity, without a doubt. You know, studying Japanese is another one. I've been doing that for quite a while now. I am no master at it by any means, but I've stuck with it, grinded away, and you know, the proof is in the pudding. When I think about what I can do versus what I couldn't do a few years ago, and more and more and more, you know, I'm proud of myself at the end of the day. Sorry to toot my own horn here. But yeah, you know, moving around the world out of England, you know, I've tried those things. I didn't give it up. Sometimes it can be good to give these things up, but it suited me, it suited my life, it suited my attitude, etc. So I stuck with it. Of course, another one for me here would be, well, running. I mentioned before, I have tried various workout routines and things like that. But, you know, I just couldn't stick with them. Going to the gym, pumping that iron, oosh, oosh, oosh. Stuff like that. And let's say every morning doing 30 squats, 20 reps of this, 30 reps of that. It wasn't me. And I don't think it is, you know. But running, wow, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not amazing. I am no world record breaker. But, you know, we can dream. And also, you know, I love that feeling before, after, during and after my runs. And of course the stretches, the pre-stretch, the post-stretch, I love it. And it's really become part of my routine. You know, there are many things which are in between those two, which I could mention, which I've really stuck with. But I think the main important thing here from those previously mentioned points is, well, they fit my personality. They fit me. And you know, life is like that. It's trial and error. We've got to find what fits us. You know, we can copy what our friends do, copy what our family does, but at the end of the day, we've got to find what works for us. And you know what? I am sure many of you can relate to this, but I think until we find what suits us and our personality, we will continue to sort of try something and drop it. Try something else and drop that. And that is perfectly fine, you know. It's all about working things out. Okay, guys, as always, I am dead curious to hear what you guys have to say on this matter. If there are some particularly funny, particularly interesting, let's say, activities or hobbies you picked up and dropped them fairly quickly, or maybe there are some hobbies which you never thought you would enjoy doing, but now you do them every day without thinking. You know, let us know in the comments. And I would love to get a bit of a dialogue going just about, well, how we can help each other sustain and maintain these activities and what to look out for if we should actually drop them instead. And of course, if you know any friends who are particularly prone to this, send over this episode. Share the link. Let them know about Deck English. Okay, guys. Now, as always, remember, English doesn't have to be difficult. See you in the next one. Bye now.